Hey, this is Donna from Faded and Forgotten History. Today we're in Belton, South Carolina at a small family cemetery called the Fant Family Cemetery. When we looked it up, we saw 4 documented graves, but when we've gotten here, we've already discovered one on the way up to this little patch of trees at the top of this hill. We've already discovered one on the outskirts, so there are others here. So we're going to go through and show you the ones that we do know that are documented and show you the others that we have discovered, but it's right here at the top of this hill. It's surrounded by several trees, especially these large cedar trees. There's a huge one over here, definitely over 100 years old from what we can tell. And we're just going to look for the graves that we do know and tell you a little bit about the people and the children that are buried here. Thanks for joining us. So make sure you like and subscribe if you appreciate what we do. Thank you. The first one we're going to talk about is Mary E. Kay. She was born August 14, 1890 through 11th of September, 1895. So she was only 5 years old when she passed away. All that we know about her is she was the daughter of C.P. and F.L. Kay. K-A-Y. So I'm not sure exactly how the K's related to the Fants. We know there's Kings in here as well. But she was our first one that we have documented that was actually buried here at just 5 years old. So this is Mary's, and it says Mary, and it has her information that we just told you about, and then it says a flower transplanted in heaven. And right beside her marker are these markers here, and we have one here and also here. We're not sure who this one is. We just found it. It's kind of on the perimeter of the rest of the cemetery, and we're trying to uncover it. It looks like it says let's see, Little Jessie Fant, December 17, 1899 through August 10th, 1900, gone but not forgotten. So this is actually a baby, 1 year old. Yeah. Wow. There's a huge cedar tree right here. Huge. I don't know. What are you thinking? Over 100. Way over 100, because the ones at Clemson were not terribly much bigger than this. All right, we see another one down here. This one we knew about. It was documented. This is infant son, born January 18, 1901 through the 18th of January, 1901. So died the same day he was born. Son of J.A. and M.E. Fant. But this tombstone looks very similar to the last one. Not sure who his parents were in relation to the other people here in the cemetery. But it's also right here on the outskirts of this main group of trees. So that just leads us to believe there's others that are on the outskirts as well that may not be documented, although this one is. Long, thin tombstone that fell over and then just gets half buried in the ground. As we're walking around, we can see several. There's one here beside this really old cedar tree that's right next to the ancient cedar tree. And we have another cedar tree that's died through time. There's a big fieldstone marker here. It's really large. And then I see here and possibly here. There's some rocks laying here that I'm not sure about, but these that are propped up, you can be pretty certain are marking graves. But the 4 that we do know about, I'm sure at one time had markers that were written on or engraved, etched on so that people could get their information. So there could be some on the perimeter in the grass, like the like 2 that we found coming in that we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. One grave that we cannot find evidence of except for this is Jesse N. Fant. He was born December 20th, 1845 through the 3rd of February, 1896. He died at just 51 years old. He was partially paralyzed for the last few years of his life, But earlier in his life, he did serve as a regular and was stationed at Sullivan's Island during the Civil War. He left a wife, Mary Willingham Fant, and 5 sons and 1 daughter. And Mary is buried over at Belton Cemetery. So it's really sad that all we have for him is a simple marker. That might have been all there was. There could be another marker somewhere, but this is the evidence we have of his grave and the life that he lived. And it's right here beside infant son of J.A. and M.E. Fant. But there's also one other grave that I really feel like would have a tombstone that has some type of etching on it, but we don't see it, which is James Lucius King. He was the son-in-law of Jesse Fant that we saw on the other side. And he was born February the 1st, 1874 through the 25th of April, 1903. He was 29 years old when he passed away. He left a wife and 5 small children and a sister and a brother. His wife was Anna Nancy Fant King. Anna is buried at Belton Cemetery beside her mother, who was Jesse Fant's wife, Mary Fant. James was Jesse's son-in-law. So his wife and Jesse's wife are buried side by side at the Belton Cemetery. So that's the 4 documented graves that we do know that are here. So looking back over what we looked at today and discovered, we know there's at least 5 documented graves here now, possibly up to 7 or 8, just looking at the field stones. We're not sure. But this is on private land. We did get permission to come here and see it today, but it's so important to document these graves because we did hear a story today about a grave not far from here that just was a single grave with a tombstone, but no family claimed it. They didn't have any information on the person, and they ended up moving the tombstone and putting their home there. So things like that do happen, even though it might not, seem right or be legal. So it just makes it all the more important to document these graves and these people's lives. So thanks again for joining us, and make sure you like and subscribe if you appreciate what we do. Thank you.